This is Abnormal Entertainment.
You have a face for podcast. You have a face for podcasting, yes.
Whatever, I got a face for underwear modeling.
Just face? What do you mean a face for underwear modeling? Hold on. What does a face have to do with underwear?
They just cut the face off.
Yeah, I know. Usually they do like neck down, right?
That's only if you got an ugly face. They didn't do that to Marky Mark.
Welcome to GloryHoundd and the Uninvited Gamers. I'm your host, GloryHoundd, and tonight's Uninvited Gamers are...
Richard. Tim.
GloryHoundd.
Why are you pointing at me? I'm the host. I literally just said my name. Were you listening?
Why do you have to be so
awkward?
awkward?
Oh my god, the story of our life.
Why are you so awkward? I like even here, like on the mix there, you don't even have your own name on here. Like everybody should know this is my
Everybody
mixer.
knows that's my place right there.
First position.
It's number one.
Position. Everybody else has a name here so they can be replaced. Like even me. She's like, I can just scratch that off. No more GloryHoundd. We'll take 2 separate cars to the podcast. So I can just let you go.
That's how you know stuff's happening right there.
She's going to be
at.
You'll
when you start showing up, when you start showing up the wrong locations.
I don't really have tickets for you to go to the convention. Oh, weird.
Oh, darn. I didn't think you wanted to go.
You didn't sign up to run 15 games? I'm sorry. You don't get a ticket.
Yeah, I just want the free passes.
Right? He's such a mooch. You mooch all my free passes.
Yeah, basically.
We're down here today at Arizona Games Fair Game Day Library. All right, so...
I'm trying to mooch his Disneyland passes.
Dude, it's my brother. I'm telling you, hook up with my brother.
Not a problem.
Right in there, man.
The things I would do to be a 2%er.
and that's the cool thing is he's getting into gaming. So I got him to buy Imperial Assault.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And
did he buy everything?
Not yet.
He will.
He will.
He will.
Yeah.
He likes it. He dug it.
Games are hard enough with that. Like you start getting some parts, and you're like, I just got to get it all.
See, and this is the bad thing that I did for him. So it was his birthday when he bought it. So I bought him a couple expansion packs, the Han Solo and Chewbacca and R2-D2 and C-3PO. So I decided, I'll just paint those for him. You know what he did after he got the game? He set the box at my house and said, okay, dude.
Paint these.
Paint.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I didn't get that.
Did you tell him he has to pay now?
No, he knows. He knows.
You're like, first time's for free. That's how you hook them.
I'm going somewhere in October.
That first taste for free.
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Once you get painted miniatures, you can't go back.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, look at this. He goes, oh, we got to use the painted ones. We have to.
Yeah.
Well, they're not even part of the main scenario. And he goes, I don't care.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah, like our Arcadia Quest ones, like... We painted our favorites first because those are the ones we're going to use.
Yeah. I painted ones I thought looked cool and stuff. So I'm like, these are the ones I'm going to play
These are the ones
I don't know what their cards do.
You can't play with the unpainted one necessarily.
Did you paint the Elvis one yet?
No,
not yet.
We have not gotten that far. I just got a carrying case for them from, Tyrant Miniatures, I think.
Yeah, it's like a cardboard box, but then it has foam. So it's not like $1 million.
The case costed me like $25, I think, which was like nothing for
cheap.
One of those foam cases. Yeah. But it's because
it holds like 120 characters?
I think it's like 180 of my characters.
Yeah, and those are the fat chibies, because it's Arcadia Quest, so they're not like the little small ones.
And it's like 5 or 6 tiers of the foam and everything, but since it's in like a cardboard box instead of an actual like shoulder carrying case and stuff like that, it's almost like in the bit box cases, the traveling cases, because it still has a handle, but it's cardboard, and so it was only $25, and I'm like, I will do this all day for $25.
With me. I mean, I don't know why I would need anything else because the nylon bag doesn't stop water.
Yeah.
I mean, water can still get into it.
And some of those nylon bags that they say are you can fly with those, you can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the airline requirements. I've watched many times. I've gone to Adepticon and people are coming into the airport and they're like, nope, sorry, you got to check that. And watch guys cry.
That sucks, yeah.
Because they're like, well, no, they said it was. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't meet the requirements, man.
That
it won't fit in the overhead either.
And if you can't, and if you've got to check it, it's just going to get tossed around. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it.
So, Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to take a bunch of stuff to ReaperCon next month.
Just
and
tell
I don't
them
know how I'm
that's
gonna
your.
do that yet either.
You could always tell them that's your ukulele collection, so you check it onto the plane. Because if you take a guitar, you can actually take a guitar all the way up to the plane, and they will check it into a closet on the plane.
Well, yeah, they usually stow it right up in first class.
Right up in first.
If they have room.
If they have room. But, like, that's, as long as you're not doing something gigantic.
Or they'll just leave it outside the plane, and then they'll take it down and stick it in the hole down below.
Right, which is a little bit better, except for on the way off.
Toss it in.
Well.
So you're going to ReaperCon next month, you said?
Yeah, yes.
All right, where's that at?
ReaperCon is in, Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Hopefully that there's no hurricanes
Yeah,
there
no
when I get
kidding,
there.
right?
I'm actually going down as part of the Talon Games crew for CAV strike operations.
Okay.
We're running CavCon down there,
Nice.
which we're going to be doing a huge basic training kind of game to teach people how to play the game. We're going to have a big, huge 8-foot by 30-foot board for a big, huge game where anybody just walks up, shows, plays, pushes mini around, keep track of how many kills you get, and they're going to get a special prize. And then we're doing, I think it's a 16 or 32-player tournament for the game.
Okay.
For Cav strike operations down there.
Oh, wow.
So it's in conjunction with ReaperCon. So if you buy your ReaperCon pass, it's like $10 add-on for CavCon because they're kind of linked. I was telling Richard beforehand, they're linked together. Cav is doing the miniatures for, or Reaper is doing the miniatures for Cav. Cav is its own separate company now.
Right.
The owner, John Walker, bought it from Cav, and now he's running out the IP, or from, Reaper. Duh. And so
they're closely linked, but they're not the same. So
right.
Exactly.
They're not the same entities anymore.
John used to, the owner of Cav Strike Operations now, used to work for Reaper. So he kind of pulled away and said, here, I'll take this IP and start a company on my own with it. And Reaper's still producing the miniatures. They're waiting for they just did their Kickstarter for their second Kickstarter, and they're waiting for the minis to come in from China, and which has been... That's one thing that I have to say. They were supposed to be here 3 months ago, but what I'm seeing from the end, and this is kind of interesting because I see a lot of people post about Kickstarters being late all the time. It doesn't matter where it's at. When you're dealing with China, they are slow at doing things. They'll tell you, oh yeah, we'll get this done by then. And then they kind of shake you down for more money and go, oh, guess what? We ran into a problem. It's going to be delayed.
Oh, that's a shame.
Unless you have X amount of money to kind of speed the process along.
They play the game.
Yeah. And
it's its own mini game whenever
so then when you really it is.
that.
So when you have a company and you're the Kickstarter, you're the owner of that Kickstarter, and so you've been promised and you tell all your backers, hey, I'm going to have it by this.
Yeah.
And then your production side says, oh no, that's not how it's going to be. It puts the owner of the Kickstarter in kind of a bad spot because then everybody's like, hey, you promised it was
they
going to be
get
on
so
this.
much pressure on that. Yeah, like people are crazy about that on Kickstarter. It's been delayed, and which, I mean, if you do a lot of Kickstarters, everything's delayed.
Yep.
Like, I mean, if a game arrives on the time it's supposed to arrive, I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
What did you do?
If you were able
what
to
gods did you pray
that.
to? But
the less stuff in it, the more likely it's going to show up on time.
right.
The more
If there's a
miniatures
ton
you
of
add-
miniatures,
no.
this could be a
That's
year
not even
later.
true
Like,
either.
who knows? Who knows?
RPG books. Like,
yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Oh,
for
really?
Yeah, no, I'm still
But
waiting for
with
RPG
those, you
books.
can still do PDFs, though, because usually if you've got the book, they usually send out the PDF, too.
It would be nice if they sent that out when they had it finished. Yeah, no.
They haven't sent it out?
Well, there's some, like, that they said they were going to be done, was it last November? They ran the Kickstarter in 2015. They said they were going to be done last 2016. And we just now got the quick start rules.
Oh, that sucks.
For the
Wow.
game.
So there's just some other issue there.
And that's
Yeah.
where because out of this crew, I'm not one of the big fans of Kickstarters. So
Yeah.
I've never done to date a kickback to Kickstarter because, I've seen too many games that said, oh yeah, hey, we're going to do this game. This is what the concept is. And then when the game finally comes out, it's something totally different.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right. What happened? This is not what I intended to back. And I can see that happening with role-playing games, you know, saying, hey, we're going to start...
Because they just give you
that
a little
means
taste.
they haven't even started writing, is what it sounds like
that
to
was
me.
the
Well,
problem.
absolutely, yeah.
You should really have the book written.
Well, and that's kind of the thing that we like
Kickstarter.
to do here is, like, you look at those Kickstarters, and since we've done so many of them, it's easier for us to look and go, this doesn't sound like it has all the necessary things already in place, so it's probably not a good Kickstarter to back right now, you know?
Right.
There was a good 2 weeks here where I didn't have a Kickstarter going between between Reaper Bones and the Doomtown we're going to talk about in a little bit. So
Right.
There was like a good 2 weeks where I didn't have some kind of money sitting out there.
I will say that with Kickstarter is kind of nice. Is since we kick stuff, like we kickstarted Massive Darkness, which we just got in.
That was so late,
and
though.
we kickstarted it like before Arcadia Quest Inferno came out, which was the second Arcadia Quest, and we got Arcadia Quest Inferno like months ago. Those are some
long time ago, yeah.
Like maybe in the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
if
closer
not
to the beginning of the year.
All you have
And so now, like when Massive Darkness showed up, it was just like surprise, a huge box.
if you want to see miniature gamers go nuts, mention the Robotech Kickstarter.
Oh, really?
Which they still have not even fulfilled the first part of that, and now they're talking about changing the scale and.
No way! You can't be making those changes and stuff like that.
Well,
they sent
out half of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Palladium is who did the Robotech one, and
a good thing
miniatures,
isn't here.
the miniatures are basically little mecha. I mean, I looked at the sprues and I'm like, holy crap! This is like a regular Gundam model kind of thing, and it's only that big, 2 inches big. You know?
Okay.
So. First of all, that, it takes 3 hours to put one miniature together and plastic. And I'm like, and I've got 200 of them to put together.
Oh, my
this is
God.
going to be my life.
Wow.
And they only sent out half of the Kickstarter because they were so far behind.
Wow.
And then they decided, well, maybe we need to change scales because now scaling doesn't work.
God.
And you should see. I was at Adepticon the year that Palladium showed up there.
Yeah.
And they were running the very first Robotech tournament there. Everybody showed up with the same force, Zentradi. Because there was only the two factions, I guess. And the organizer grilled them over, here's all the problems with the rules, here's all this, and they're like, oh, well.
Oh, that's sad.
And he's like, you know what, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
He goes, we got 16 players here for this, we're trying to get it, I've spent all this money on terrain and everything, and then I talk to you about the issues, and you're just like, it is what it is.
Oh, that's a shame.
Forget it, I'm done. And my buddy had a ton of money. I mean, I saw the boxes that he got. They were huge, like 24 by 24, 24 cubes boxes of miniatures and stuff. Wow. Sprues. He went deep, and he's like, I'm just going to sell it, trash it. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm done. You
know?
And that's the other problem that I see, especially on the miniature side for Kickstarters, is that you back a project, and then 2 years later it shows up. And you're like, oh, I backed this?
I know, that's exactly what
well, yeah,
that's
miniatures.
Darkness. Like she told me we got it in, and I was like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Remember we looked at it?" And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "I don't remember." So I had to go look it up on Kickstarter, watch the video, and I'm like, "Yeah, still not getting it." And then I was like, "Oh wait, I vaguely remember saying we should get the extra enemy pack that had the Minotaur in it."
And I was
like,
"Yeah,
okay." I think I remember specifically saying we got to get the one with the Minotaur. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
I think I remember that, but we still, I don't even remember it. I had to look it all up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but all miniatures, like you said, are like that. Whenever you're doing Kickstarters, people give Cool Mini or not such crap about it and stuff, but like, dude, the game comes with hundreds of miniatures. Like, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah,
you just kind of have to know that's part of it.
I feel like miniature Kickstarters are like giving my future self a gift, like that may or may not ever occur, because like I
may show up, may not.
Yeah, because I did
future self a gift.
Yeah.
Ooh, what is this?
Yeah, what is this Reaper Bones that showed up
so
that
nice.
I actually?
Yeah, but see, Reaper Bones though, that at least with Bones, it's not tied to a specific game. It's just general figures that you can use for anything. So,
so it's not a big deal. You're not waiting on something.
It's just a.
I don't know if I can get everybody.
Like we've had issues where there's been a game kickstarted, and then it's
But then you can't press the button.
We've had games where we've kickstarted them specifically like for a birthday, and then they come like 6 months late, and that doesn't really work out too well. So you gotta be careful with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not getting everybody
Are
in.
we just...
Oh, my God, everybody just take a picture.
Are we just stopping? Okay.
Just how many do you need to take? Good Lord.
Sorry, I'm a photographer. It's hard to just take a picture.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm a wanker, so I have that same problem.
what else we got going on? Oh, okay. New games coming out. We have the new Warhammer 40K.
Oh,
Let's talk about
that's
that.
out.
Yeah,
That's out.
You're out.
it is out.
And
It came out though like last month, I think, right?
yeah, and it went. And
Everybody
month and a
was
half
like
ago,
on fire about that.
Sales have spiked. Okay, so Games Workshop, I think, has finally realized to try to right their sinking ship
Okay.
financially that, hey, let's go back to simpler, easier things. And people are just buying it up, and they've got old school people like me coming back to the game that I had sworn off Games Workshop a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay. What specifically made you want to come back to it, though?
Well, first of all, Necromunda, which is Shadow War Armageddon, which is basically Necromunda, was the first part of it. And I'm like,
I'm just laughing because my replacement is here. So
Your words.
no, it's that nostalgia thing that pulled me back into it.
Nostalgia. Yeah, that'll get you.
You know, it started with Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those freaking bastards.
I know, right? And then you're like, oh my god, I gotta get everything.
And the
Dang
sad thing
it.
is, I have 2 versions of Blood Bowl. I didn't need the newest version.
Okay.
But you did.
But I did.
Yeah.
And it's like tapping,
It'll make it easier
tapping the vein.
Right.
Right.
It makes it easier
here,
for
just
me
go
to
ahead.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then Shadow War Armageddon came out, which was basically you take, like, I think it's only up to 15 models that you can do. So you could basically buy one box of whatever faction you wanted and put
Just
it together
go?
and play. Yeah, and it was
that's not bad.
It was basically Necromunda that they had from before. The rules were we're actually using our old cheat sheets that the old game came with to play the game. So
That's smart, though, because it gets people
Yeah.
that are like on the fence back in. If
Well,
you
and
could
it's-
just buy a box and play.
people our age that have money, that
Yeah.
are willing to spend money, okay, yeah, I'll drop $40-$50 on the rule,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And 40K is doing that same thing where they've introduced, there's basically 3 different ways to play. First of all, they released the rules for free online.
Okay.
So you can download them off the Games Workshop site, the basic rules, which is something that GW has never really done before.
So, what does that allow you to do? Players who don't want to invest in the new minis could use old minis,
Well,
technically, like for fun, but not for tournament play.
They've so if you just want to have a good time with it, and
Yeah, so
play,
if you just want to play your buddy and you already have
Yeah.
some miniatures, you could just
so
do
that
it.
they have that free version, so you can play kind of a storyline, kind of, you know, come up with your own story and play.
Because that's how like
Like
Attack Wing
scenario
was.
based?
Attack
Yeah.
Wing came with scenarios with every miniature you bought.
Right.
Most of them, so you could kind of like play out that miniature, like
Yeah,
the
to play that
story.
It would make
or
things.
whatever.
It would make things interesting, you know. So you're playing something different.
So you can do it that way. You can actually, they have power levels instead of going through and saying, okay, well, this figure costs X amount of points plus this equipment and all this. They just say, okay, for 10 guys, it's this price.
Okay.
10 guys, it's this price. And they just
So
give
they're
you a basic
streamlining
point.
stuff
They
a little bit
streamline-
more. Yeah.
And then for the hardcore tournament players, you can still go in and go, okay, well, this guy costs 15 points. If I give him this equipment, now he takes him up to like 18 points plus this, and I can play like 2,000 point games.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different ways to play the game, which is a smart marketing aspect for them because you reach everybody that plays that game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
You got
I
to
don't
hit
wanna
the
play the
casuals. You got to
Yeah.
hit the people that want to come
or if you have like
to the
newer
small
players
tournaments and
coming
you want
in
the
that
big
don't have
tournaments.
as much stuff and everything.
Well,
like,
I just saw, I was in the shop Imperial Outpost last weekend. They have these little starter boxes for $40. You get, I think it's 10 figures, 5 of each side, some cardboard terrain, the basic rules, dice, everything. Boom, and it plays on like a 2x2 table
oh wow.
for $40.
That's nice.
That's unheard of for GW.
Right.
Well, it's not unheard of because way back when I started, it used to be that much for a box game. But
yeah,
Not anymore.
Well, didn't a bunch of many companies like fold in the last month too?
yes,
I was gonna say I think so. Yeah.
because I think the pressure from like
It's
GW
expensive.
actually coming back. Well, no, because GW, it kind of a lot of people attributed to GW coming back with like good products that
games.
people were buying.
So-
like all these like smaller games
Well,
just like died
Right.
on
Well,
the
I mean,
line.
but if you have a more secluded like community of gamers for one game, and then you have a bigger company come in, I mean, if they're hanging on by a thread as it is,
yeah,
you just be like, oh well, Games
Well,
Workshop.
there was 2 things that I've noticed that have happened with Games Workshop coming back with this, like, I guess, strong vengeance of putting themselves back in the lead of the market. First of all, they went to miniatures that are a little bit easier to put together. So they only go together a certain way. what that's done is killed the aftermarket company for aftermarket parts.
Yeah.
That there was a huge
that
market.
would sell like what? Just
that
like
was
different
that was
arms,
heads, different arms. And
that was
like that.
That was sort of my disappointment when I was putting together, because I bought the Dark Imperium box set.
Okay.
And I had played in 3rd edition, so everything was posable.
Yes.
So I was kind of sort of disappointed that I couldn't pose them a little bit. I get why they did it, because of course I designed plastic models before, but like it's very difficult to get like something that always fits together. But like I was like, oh, I guess my guy will look like everyone else's guy. All
well,
right.
here's a good
That's
example.
what paint is for.
No, because I'm one of those guys that I can't have the same model duplicated.
Oh, okay.
I gotta
So you want
change
every single
something to be
player, every
different.
single person to be
I can
different.
understand that. Yeah.
And that's
I
part
do
of
that
my
with my
OCD
Legos.
aspect.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Change out heads.
It looks realistic.
You have two
you know?
Gandalfs running around in your Lego world.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Right?
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's Gandalf the White and Gandalf the Grey.
I took, when I bought the Blood Bowl set, because the Blood Bowl figures are all, they go together a certain way. There's just no way to slot them all together. You guys
Exactly.
put them
There's
together.
only one way.
well,
Yeah.
She did.
She did. Well,
Her
yeah.
fingers were hurting.
So the orcs, I couldn't stand. I was going to have 2 of the same models.
Yes.
So I went out and I bought a pack of aftermarket orc heads, and then I started just cutting and hacking. And
Oh,
you
wow.
have to do a lot of
Holy
work.
cow.
Back in the day when Richard and I were putting stuff together, it was easy to just go, oh, here's a pack of heads. I can put this head on this guy. No
It'd be
problem.
simple.
Boom, easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much. I mean, I spent hours on one of my throwers changing his arm position to make it look right, putting a different head on, and all.
Wow.
And they've kind of cut that market out of that aftermarket, because with the Chapter House lawsuit that happened about 3-4 years ago, there were GW, this company Chapter House decided to put out a model that GW hadn't put out yet.
Okay.
And GW took them to court and said, hey, you can't do that. That's our IP.
Right.
And they said, well, show us the model. And the court said, Chapter House has got a good point. You don't have a model for it, so they're not ripping off your IP. We're going to award the win on the lawsuit. And GW then said, ooh.
Super angry.
We can't do that. So I think with the production of the new models, which are very nice and highly detailed, going to that single piece models that go together like that makes it easier for entry-level modelers coming into the hobby.
Absolutely.
As well as cuts out that aftermarket.
Yeah,
for
I have
trust me, Richard. I'm in the same boat. I would rather.
But I'm on the opposite side. Like, I don't care if they look the same. Like, I just want to put the crap together and then play the game. Yeah.
So what it is, it's all in how much time you want to take in anything.
The fact that I had to put the pieces together, I was pissed because I was like, dang it,
lazy,
I have to do stuff for this game before I can even play it.
Since we go, over, collectible card games, and we do board games, and we do some miniature stuff, the time. Like, I love the fact that Attack Wing was already pre-painted and stuff, and I just had to stick the drag
it was not a bunch of time.
And just go. Because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. If I had to build it and stuff, I'm like, this is too much work to build one of these models.
That would have been
So there's different aspects of it. It's really on how much time you want to put into it. If you're a
Right.
person that wants to like customize every single piece and paint them all individually, having options is always great. But if you're on the opposite end where you're like, I want to put this together and play with my friends like today, then this new one might be better.
And stuff like that go. I mean, trust me, I'm in the same boat. I'm kind of bummed that Imperial Assault didn't pre-paint their stuff, Fantasy Flight, because I'm like, hey, you did it for X-Wing, you did it for Armada.
Right, what happened?
What'd you stop for?
Mm-hmm. It's an expensive game, too.
Because now I have to paint that stuff. So I see both sides of it. There are times when I just want to dump out a game, play it, and go.
Yeah.
My zombie side, my brother threw down a challenge on me that every time we play a game, he wants to see some progress of paint done on something. So, because he's like, well, you're the painter, you're getting paid. So it started with my Warhammer Quest set. He's like, dude, you've had this game for 20 some odd years, and it still looks the same that it did 20 years ago when we played, and we just recently started playing about a year ago. And he said, you need to paint some more of that stuff. So I've been slowly at least painting 1 or 2 figures to say, see, dude, here, got this painted. You can't give me crap anymore. The zombie side, I happened to show him the game, and he's like, well, you need to do the same thing with that. And I'm like, I don't want to paint this stuff.
So that was an issue I had when we got Massive Darkness, because we had bought some of the extra stuff, and like we get them on, I'm like, oh, they're all gray. So we got to paint all these. And I'm like, so I look at it as someone who doesn't have a lot of time to paint, and I go, well, I started Arcadia Quest. I guess if I'm going to paint those.
Yeah.
Not Massive
like
Darkness.
which one are you going to choose? Yeah.
Because like there's just no way. I'd have to retire. Or
once
something.
again, like we talked about in the previous podcast, is it a miniature game or is it a board game? How do you want to approach it?
It does make a difference.
My wife with her Here Kitty Kitty game last weekend that she bought, she's like, we need to paint these cats.
What?
I'm like, oh,
hell no.
I'm not touching that thing.
I haven't seen the game, but that shouldn't take
They're little
terribly.
tiny orange like cats.
Orange, black, and white. Yeah.
Yep. It would be fairly easy, but like, why?
Okay, then you can paint mine then.
There you go.
I'm saying, like, I don't feel like it would actually add anything to the game.
We're going to need to see
to
some
put
progress
a
on
white
this
spot
game.
on the cat. Like, oh, white spot on the black cats.
Well,
now it's better.
I was so excited when I finished
Make all the cats look different.
Yeah.
Finish my Castle Ravenloft box set.
But see, like I did the opposite. So we played Temple of Elemental Evil, and since there was an attack wing that went along a similar storyline,
yeah,
I was
we just
able
used
to
all the
grab
attack wing ones.
pre-painted figures
We're like,
out
"Ha,
of the attack wing,
suckers."
like most of them, and like not the monsters, which is fine because my daughter was like, "Doesn't matter what
Monsters
the
can be
monsters, like, we're
great,
just slaying
whatever."
them." But we were able to
They're
get
like,
figures,
yeah.
and they were the right scale and everything because they were the same scale at that point. They've only occasionally they've done different scales, like when they did the Giants, I think is a different scale, which made people mad.
They
Giants
just
board game.
reused those exact poses and figures for both games.
And so it was nice to take the unpainted ones out and put the pre-painted ones. And even though they're not like they're not perfectly painted, they're not as good as like I would.
Aren't
paint
they doing
them,
that now?
But they're pretty
the
good.
D&D stuff is all coming pre-painted now.
Some of it. It depends.
Isn't there sealed boxes like?
Yeah,
boxes
you can get the miniature boxes, and they're pre-painted in there. And then they also have ones that aren't, and there's different options for them and stuff. But I like the fact that some of them are pre-painted because.
But see that for me, okay. So going back, like when you brought up Temple of Elemental Evil, I have the old D&D module for that.
Okay.
When I started back in years ago with that stuff, that was part of the hobby. You had to have your model. You had to paint it.
Right.
You got your old Grenadier model, and you busted out your enamel paints that you used for your cars and your
but like
stuff. Horrible.
We have like YouTube and stuff now, so like we don't have as much time to paint.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I do is I watch YouTube while I'm painting, but that's.
But no, I understand. But you had like at that point, you also
that was for me when I see D&D, I think back to that when I started.
That's when you like started picking up paint.
Yeah,
for the
I
first
started
time.
picking up painting because it was like, oh hey, I got these cool
and I want my guy to look as cool as he is in my mind.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah.
But see, I'll go to the fact that at a certain point, like maybe during that point in time, or like even when I first started playing D&D and stuff, like that was all I was doing. Like I would have a weekly D&D game or something. So it was a lot
you
easier
were
than
more
like
invested
now I've
in
got
everything.
like now I'm married with a kid and everything. Like I don't have time to even pull the
do it.
weeds in my
Right.
backyard, let alone paint a figure for a game that might only go like 2 months before some like the DM quits or something. You know?
Right.
It's like, there's only so much that you can
Well,
do.
it's kind of like I said, I've gone back and started painting my old Warhammer Quest stuff, and I've been on this scouring eBay and looking for the older models just to kind of complete it. And it is one of those things where now it's kind of that personal challenge that, yes, I'm going to get this painted. I'm going to do this because when you go online and you look for the old school Warhammer Quest to see if anybody's got anything a fully painted set, nobody does. So, I just scored an old GW zombie dragon because I got this idea for doing a campaign for an undead campaign, and I'm like, oh, I got this for a killer deal. I'm going to put this thing together. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but
I will make a campaign
I'm
work
going
for
to
this.
build something around this and really screw with my party.
Zombie dragons are so hot right now.
Well,
They're super in.
Well,
It's because from the Game of Thrones.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Watch
gonna
it.
like
Don't-
be crazy. It's gonna be crazy now.
I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to probably be the 1%. I have not seen one episode of Game of Thrones.
That's okay. We still like you. I mean,
I-
it's like a
Not
mark
as- not
against
as
you,
much,
but
but yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I guess you'll do.
You still have those passes. So.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
the scale is still weighted
That's right.
one way or the other.
That's right.
I just powered my way through all 7 seasons.
That's the best.
So because I hadn't seen anything since the first season because I was like, I read the books. Okay, the books are better. All right,
You're right.
I'm done with
Different.
this. And then when the fact is, I don't think those books are ever going to come out again. So
Not for real, right?
So
Yeah.
He'll get there.
I don't think you're
maybe.
missing.
There's something about
watching
getting up in with the cultural phenomenon, because that's what it is. Like Walking Dead was like that too.
Right.
There's something, and I used to be the person that would always wait till it hit Netflix or wait till it had a season out, and then I'd go buy the season and watch it so I could binge watch it. But I have to say, Game of Thrones, it was nice being part of the phenomenon because it gave you something to talk about at work when you were bored.
Well, yeah,
that was kinda
that was
cool.
the same thing with Walking Dead because I'm a huge Walking
People
Dead
be like,
fan.
did you see what happened to that person
Yeah.
died? And you're like, yo, I can't believe it. It was that part of
Water
the cultural
cooler talk.
phenomenon.
right, so we have Fallout miniature game. We were going to talk about.
Yes. Crack.
It's Fallout.
That's crack. It's Fallout.
It's Fallout, yeah.
It's
all you have to say is Fallout, and then everybody's like, yes!
License to print money right
Right,
there.
Pretty much.
basically, because like
Pretty
when the kid was born, we kind of got out of video gaming for a while.
Right.
That's when we kind of switched to board gaming because it was easier to do like during naps and more reliable. And so I missed Fallout until Fallout 4, and I missed Witcher until Witcher 3, and I finished Fallout 4 like maybe last year or something, but I've played it like a couple times. And that is a great series. It's stupidly good.
Fallout, yeah.
I started
Bethesda game,
I started with Fallout 3 on my PS3, which I still have. And, bought the Game of the Year expansion because my brother's like, oh, dude, it's a sandbox game. You got to get this. You're going to dig it. I kid you not, I spent a whole night because when I put it in and just started playing, I was addicted.
Yeah,
and
you just
my wife got
playing.
up the next morning and goes, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, what? She goes, you got to be up in 2 hours to go to work. And I'm like,
it doesn't matter.
What? No.
That's tomorrow,
doesn't
Tim's
matter.
problem. I say all the time, tomorrow, Jack, we'll worry about that.
For
I'm like,
real.
"Oh, I'll be fine.
It's today, but
Well,
whatevs.
there's 2 Fallout games coming.
There's a second one?
Fantasy Flight's putting out a board game for Fallout.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
surprised
well,
you
no.
didn't- Wait a minute, the
they've
miniature
done
guy
the
knows
miniature.
that, and
No,
the board game people?
hold on. So I saw the board game, but
Right.
there's like also a miniature.
Yes,
portion?
and a miniature game.
So they're two separate. They're not.
Yeah, Fantasy Flight's
I
doing
just saw
the board
game. I just saw the board game.
Morpheus is doing the miniature game.
Okay.
So
So-
they've been putting up.
Yeah, I didn't realize
some
there's two
really-
separate
I didn't
Yeah.
realize there were two
I
separate
just see the word
enemies either.
Fallout, and
I
I'm like,
saw
I'm buying it,
I
so
saw
it
the
doesn't
board
matter.
game then.
Yeah, because I
is
saw
what I looked at.
I saw the board game and I'm like, it kind of looks like Settlers of Catan, kind
Yeah.
of with the hexagonal grid, and I'm like, not a big fan of that.
Right.
And then Morpheus, actually, I follow their blog or their development blog.
Okay.
They're doing a 32 mil miniature game, so you're going to have the super mutants. You're going to have.
that's gonna be
your
so awesome.
They're doing some of the terrain they've been putting up, the wreck cars.
Didn't they
and
do
that.
it was a
That's
Kickstarter?
fantastic.
I don't know if it was a Kickstarter or not.
I thought it was on Kickstarter.
Do we have
but-
game rules yet for this?
They're saying it's going to be kind of a skirmish game where it's either you can play campaign style,
Okay.
one solo gaming kind of thing like you would for the regular video game,
Okay.
or versus. So
Versus would be so cool.
So you can put together your own vault team.
You'd be like, I'm
together
super
and-
mutants.
Yes, and it's
Freaking awesome.
Nuka-Cola machines,
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of companies like Sarissa Precision laser cutting kits or building kits for them already.
Mm-hmm.
You can get like the Dino motor or the Dino gas station and things,
Nice.
and Red Rockets.
That's
Truck stop.
fantastic.
There's a lot of companies.
Oh yeah,
jumping
because
in on
I'm
that.
looking at it,
Right.
actually pulling up more information. It's got everything. I mean, it's got
Yeah.
like the combat armor, like
Yep.
kind of setup that you would wear, and it's got like the
mech
scout,
suits
And
and
the
stuff.
cool, and the
Scout,
cool thing,
yeah.
what they did with that is they sent out this huge survey, and they said, "What do you players want to see? Do you want to
Okay.
see it as a miniature game? Do you want to see it more as a skirmish game?
Oh, you
How
got
do you want to see
Sturgis.
it?" And they listed everything. So even
Very nice.
the survey was a crazy survey. It was like over 100 questions. Like, would you want to see resin models? Do you want to see laser cut models? Do you want to see metal models?
Oh, that's nice that they're
What do you want to see
reaching out
models
to the
of?
community and
Yeah.
taking that information in
It's got
to get the best
dog
product.
And
Sorry.
dude, that is
Yeah.
I'm looking at the miniature. I'm like, it's got dog meat.
yeah.
Everybody loves dog meat.
So I mean, right there, that's going to sink me. My wife's going to hate me. because I'm going
bet.
to spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
want
Yeah.
this too. You got the
That's gonna be
X66 and,
And
wow,
dude,
you've got
just
so
from
much
even if you
stuff.
don't play the game, just having a cool super mutant model,
Right.
I'd take that to work and stick it on my desk. You know,
Yeah, I'm trying to ignore. I know it existed. I'm trying to ignore it till it actually exists.
but they're getting closer and closer because I think those pictures are actual pictures of
Prototypes.
models.
Yeah, they look legit. Like that.
Because that's not a CGI or
No.
3D rendering. That
Yeah,
looks
this
like
is
an
actually
actual-
too good.
When,
oh, you
when
got
they show up in the
Saltatrons?
store, then that's when I'm going to start carrying because I can't.
You can't have it right now.
I can't
I want
have
to
it
build
right
an
now.
army of just Mr. Handy
Handy
robots.
bots,
Yeah. Just running around.
Dude, I mean, it's
Oh, a
everything.
handy robot army would be fantastic.
Deathclaw from behind. She always gets attacked from Deathclaw from behind.
I do. Like, I don't know what it is when I'm walking through
Oh,
that
yeah,
game.
look at this. They got
like
the-
all of a sudden a death claw is up on me.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking at Morpheus.com, and it's got like the turrets. It's got burned out cars. Like you said, the Nuka-Cola.
Well, that's the thing is, if you have all 3D models already, you can start doing the 3D prints for the prototypes, and then doing the molds. for
Oh,
those.
that's true.
So
I
you
didn't
already
even
have
think of
all
that. You already
already.
have everything done for you pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to look at producibility a little
Right.
bit, but other than that,
yeah. They're
you're
talking
already
player
there.
versus player
But
co-op
you have a
and
huge-
solo.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, what more for
AI deck to control
campaign
enemies.
style game would be fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's got an AI deck to control the different things. There's different factions. Wow.
Because for the longest
Well, now
time,
I'm super excited about this rather than the board game now.
Yeah. See, when I saw that, I'm like,
Like comparatively, you're like, meh, the board game, whatever.
They scaled it way up too.
That. Yeah.
Because they've got all the way down to like with the human, and then like the mech armor's bigger, and then like you get all the way up to like the brute,
the super mutant brute.
Yeah.
And the death. Do they have a death?
See.
claw?
Yeah, they have the death claw.
He's like
Right
the second
there.
biggest.
Interesting. I would have thought that was the other way.
No, because the other guys are much bigger. I forget what they're called. They're really
Yeah, because
big.
you're like in a
really
helicopter
super
and
behemoths.
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
super behemoth.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Swan and stuff.
They're
just
like
Right.
You're like, I'm gonna hide behind this wood and shoot you.
and
Yeah.
all that, dude.
Yeah.
That game,
The suits of armor
Me
in
and my
this
buddy
look
Rob
fantastic.
I would paint this one.
dude, weird.
There's very few that I
Oh
would.
my God.
'Cause, yeah, like you said, I would put this up on my desk at work.
Yeah.
Like, I actually have the Fallout Boy on my
Fallout-
desk, and then I have Claptrap.
Dude,
from
I have a
Borderlands.
Nuka-Cola. So going back into the corporate world, from doing the miniature.
Do
paint,
you have the lanyard?
I have a Nuka-Cola lanyard.
I have
with a
that.
Nuka-Cola cap.
Yep.
And everybody's like, "Is that a Nuka-Cola? What is it?" And there's a couple of people in the office
No.
that are like,
You get the
"Yeah,"
nod.
they give me the
the
thumbs
nod
up.
and the thumbs up.
Yep. And I'm like, all right,
we know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
But that game is going to ruin me financially.
Yeah.
I can
For
see it.
real.
Because I want all of that.
Ooh, I didn't even think about the Institute. Like one
Yeah.
player could be the Institute.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a definite pickup. Because we were looking at, speaking of other miniature games, we were looking at the Cool Mini or Not Game of Thrones one that
Okay.
they were doing. And that one looked good. Like, it was interesting. I was, like, kind of on board with it, but
No,
we just have
because-
so many
Well,
things
see,
right
and
now.
Yeah.
And it
that's
seems
the
like it's
problem I think we're running into, especially on the miniature
So
side.
many
overload.
big box miniature games
There's
and stuff.
so many games out there, and you only have so many time. That's what
I
me
get
and,
it.
my buddy have been talking about. Is that you got 52 weeks in a year, so you honestly
Yeah,
have like
which
maybe
time-
52 times you can game. Honestly,
We've
cut
discussed
that,
that
back to
with,
half.
with just board
How often
gaming.
can you get that?
Like,
You
how
know,
many times
getting
can I
games?
even, some of these games that we're getting expansions for, it's like, I haven't even played the original game enough to be bored. So, like,
Right.
why are we even getting an expansion for this game? Like, I'm not even bored with the original. It's fine if you got 5 games. If
Dude,
you
that's
got
me with
300-400
Zombicide. I've
games-
got it all, and I'm like, I still haven't even gotten through all the scenarios in the
Yeah,
first book.
like flick them up. We're like, yeah, we've played the first scenario 17 times, but we've never got
Yeah.
past it because we're always showing it to somebody else. Zombie 15. There's a lot of games like that. But like when I go to Game Anywh, they've got, since they're a big miniatures place, I go and I look in there and I'm like, there's Drop Fleet and there's this,
Yeah,
and
there's so
that,
many
and
miniatures
I
and
don't
stuff.
even know what it is.
It
I'm,
becomes
like,
overwhelming.
overwhelmed. I'm like, there's
Yeah,
so
at
many
times.
miniatures out there. And like, I want to play,
Right.
but I just need you to like build me something, and I guess I'll just play yours because
show me the
Infinity
cat.
looks so good. I mean,
There's
I
so
know
much
it's
of that stuff
impossible
looks
to play,
good.
but Infinity looks so
Well,
good.
and here's the thing with Infinity, too, that I've been noticing at Imperial Outpost. They used to have on Sundays, because that's usually when I go in and game, they would have a league going. The league is getting smaller and smaller, and the 40K crowd is
Getting bigger and bigger, yeah.
Because a lot of people that jumped out of
Migrate.
40K
Went to Imperium.
went to
Or
Infinity.
Infinity.
And so now they're, hey, let's go back to this. So, Infinity for me, I loved it because, the Appleseed movies. Because I'm like, oh, that anime is great. This
Right.
is what it is. And so I bought a bunch of it, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to get to it. I've got 3 models painted.
Yeah.
Well,
That's how-
2.5 models
That's how I feel
painted.
with like Attack Wing. We got everything. I'm missing literally 1 card set and 1 miniature, and that's it. Everything else I have for it, and they stopped running
But,
tournaments for
yeah,
it.
since
Not
they
just
stopped
running.
doing,
Yeah.
since they
And so
stopped
it's
doing
just going to
stuff for
sit
it.
forever. I don't know.
It
Maybe
is.
I'll get my kid into it when she
And then
gets
if you
older.
try to get rid of it, you're never going to get back what you paid for.
No,
it.
and
Right.
I
And
don't
I'm
really
a
want
realist,
to.
and I know that.
Yeah,
but-
Right.
I like them. I want to keep them. They're
But-
cool to have dragons. If I ever do a
Dude.
D&D campaign, it's going to be about
But
dragons.
who's going to, if you go to like a gamer's garage sale or the Merc Market
Yeah.
that some of the
Well-
stores do, you look at it and people are like, here, $5, take it from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll pay you to
Arcadia
take it off my
Quest.
hand. You see
Because
that?
of
Another
the
Arcadia
space,
Quest.
the
Yeah.
space.
Golem Arcana. So I was briefly an emissary for that, and that was the one that had like the dot matrix where you had the pin that you
Okay.
would put,
And
and you could
basically
move stuff
did all
around,
the
and it was like an
calculations
app.
for terrain and stuff for you
Oh,
on
really?
on the
So,
computer program.
Really
you know?
cool.
Nice.
They kickstarted it. I even bought a tablet just to play this game.
Right.
I could never get people to. I can only
To
get
play.
like my friends
You
to
couldn't.
play it, and it was 1-on-1.
Yeah.
and that's it. And I
Okay.
demoed it once or twice, but I could never really get a good interest for it. And they ended up closing the whole thing down. And I had a guy approach me,
And-
and he's like, "I've got everything.
Yeah.
I'll sell it to you." And I'm like, "Dude, it'd
Dude,
be
I'm in the
great.
same boat.
What am I going
Right.
to do with it? It's just going to sit in my closet until I can convince my kid to
Why
play
don't we
me
just
over
play
a long
together?
summer." Like, I don't know.
Well, and that's what you do run into is, I mean, I've got games that are sitting up in the closet that I can't get anybody to play.
I think everyone does, and they love it.
Everybody
But he's
does.
got
You love the
Shogun, like
game.
the old Shogun from like the 70s or 80s.
That would be
He
80s,
convinced me
yeah.
to play it. one time, but that was only because like she was on vacation and I was at his house like all day, like 24 hours.
Was that the old Milton Bradley one?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Now it's called Samurai Sword.
Yeah,
It
they
is.
changed it. And he doesn't like they changed it. But so he had that, and so we played that game, and then he was missing like a few pieces, so I found another old copy of it, and I bought that copy of it on
Just
eBay.
to supplement.
So,
he
yeah,
could
to get him
mix
in
the
there.
two together to fulfill his collection, because that's, that's iProfit's like, oh, this is one of my favorite games from when I was a kid type of thing. But as far as getting people to play it, or like Wiz Wars, he had the hardest time getting people to play Wiz Wars for the longest time, and now we play
That's a
it
good
lot.
game.
But
Well, see, and that was like last weekend, and as you guys know, I'm a big miniature guy, but I got
You do
together with my
miniatures
brother.
too?
Yeah, I do miniatures. What? Right. Last weekend we played down all these smaller board game, card game kind of things. with
Yeah,
my
so you can
brother.
kind of like go through a bunch of them
So
and try
we
stuff
burned
out.
through
Yeah.
5 games.
yeah.
As compared to when I play a miniature game, it's usually it's a big production.
It's
whole night.
one day,
Yeah.
like
Game of
minimum
Thrones.
Yeah.
4
The
hours.
board game, or like Shadows over
Yeah.
Camelot. It's like
This
that's
is the
gonna be
only
our
game
night.
we're playing today.
Well, like when you guys
The
came out
only
and saw our
game.
big Civil War
Oh,
game,
yeah.
we did,
That's it.
dude,
Yeah.
that was
All day.
long.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And then
all
we were
you're
like,
playing.
let's go get a beer afterwards.
Right?
I don't even want to pick this crap up, just so you can keep it. I don't care, So that
That
kind
was
of
black
plays
powder,
into
not
it.
power. Like you
Yeah,
said.
Yeah,
black
black
powder.
Not black.
Black powder.
in the air, yeah.
Two different games.
But
Did you see the Game of Thrones miniature game they kickstarted?
Yeah, but I have never seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm
I-
The
not
one that
interested.
Cool Mini or Not did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed
Yeah.
interesting. I liked how they had the bases that you put them on. You could move them.
Well, they did them in
Right.
army style, where
They-
you move in
Yeah.
armies
Yeah,
and
it's more like
structured and stuff. Yeah.
Warhammer Fantasy style. But it was
Yeah.
hilarious at Gen Con. They had a woman on a violin in the middle of the demos playing all the music from Game of Thrones, like for
really?
most of the
really?
things.
Oh, very nice.
So it was kind of hilarious.
Reigns
So
of
the-
Castamere,
Yeah, they were playing
right?
the Reigns
Yeah.
of Castamere.
That's actually pretty sweet. But I looked at that and I said, oh, good, that's another big game that I probably won't have a lot of time to play.
Right.
And I'm just going to throw a bunch of money at it.
Well,
It's just going to sit in my closet.
And okay, so you guys do a lot of board gaming, obviously. How many games do you guys have that overlap with your friends? So that you go, I
There's a
really dig
few.
this game,
Yeah.
and then they have the game as well.
Yeah.
So then who ends up hosting?
That does happen.
So me and my buddy have been talking about that. It's like, well, if I'm going to get into this game X here, and you're going to have game Y, I'll build something for Y while you build something for X, kind of thing. So we don't both have the same thing.
We've done that with
Right.
some games. Like we got 2 games that I really like: Splendor and what was the other one? Champions of Midgard. I bought both of those for the other few people that come on the podcast all the time.
For Just Colleen and iProfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got those 2 games for them for like birthdays, Christmas,
Right.
that type of stuff.
Yeah, my birthday is coming up.
Is it?
Just saying.
Hint, hint.
You should be really nice to your painter.
October 26th.
Yeah.
So I got those games for them. But since they had them, like I'm always trying to borrow them from them because I love those games. Especially Champions of Midgard, I love that game. So I'm always trying to borrow from them. But then what we do is we talk about it. We're like, okay, Champions of Midgard has an expansion coming out. I'm like, are you guys getting it?
Or are
if-
we getting it?
Right.
Yeah.
If they
Right.
said no, then I would have been like, well, I'm going to get it for you and give it to you for Christmas because like I want that in my life somewhere. Like
Right.
it's got to be. And so for Splendor, like I bought Century Spice Road. They've got Splendor. I feel like we've got different, similar-ish type games.
See,
and-
so that works pretty good for the board gaming world. For the miniature game,
hard.
it's a little bit tougher because obviously it's a little bit sometimes higher buy-in because then you got to
Right.
paint
we
and
talked
do
about
things
Blood
and stuff.
Bowl. I said we've got the base set, so I
Right.
told them, I'm like, if you guys want to play, why don't you guys buy like the Skaven or
Right,
like,
get
yeah.
the different
Dwarves?
guys, and
I'm
then
like,
we can
and
all
that's
play
it.
together
Like,
still.
You get the
Yeah.
figures, those
Yeah.
figures, and then you can have something different than us, and we can play. And I told them that, like, just buy those little $25 sets or $30 sets. I think they're
spend
not
the money.
too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just going to get comfortable.
Buy those, and then we can all
care.
play together. You don't have to
He's
buy
now
everything.
removing articles of clothing in the church.
No, we're in the church.
No,
so,
no, just lounging.
But no, I don't,
Wrong
you have to
podcast.
almost organize that
Yeah.
with your friends, and you have to know that your friends are going to be around because you're like,
dude,
I'm going to
and
get
that's-
this.
Oh,
you
that's
get
another
that.
thing. Yeah, whenever you have a group of friends like that, and then they all decide, we're not going to do this
Like
anymore.
when you get invite somebody to come and play a game like Warhammer Quest and you get shot down twice.
Hey,
Some
that
you
was
and your
con
husband.
season. That was
Ah,
totally
yeah,
different.
I
it
get
was
it.
con
Doesn't
season.
even tell me. I'm usually free.
It was con season. I don't know if I'm going to do the same thing next year. For
It gets
cons.
busy.
It
Everything
was too
gets-
much.
everything gets busy.
It was
that's-
way too much.
Life happens. I mean, there's times like my buddy and I, we've been trying to get kind of a rotation of 3 games in a row. So one week we're going to do, say, Saga. Like tomorrow we're doing Saga. Then next weekend we're going to do Bolt Action. Then we're going to do, it's going to be a free weekend where we're just going to throw down whatever we want to play. And try to keep a rotation of games.
Yeah.
Because we kind of, him and I both were talking with the other guys in our group and said, well, what do you guys want to play? because everybody always wants to play something different.
Right, you have to
and
almost
then you're like,
organize
well,
it.
okay, dude, you want to play this? All right, I'll play that. But I really want to play this game.
Yeah.
You know? So we try to kind of get it a little bit more structured. Say, well, this weekend, this is what we're playing. So that way we kind of know every third weekend this is what we're always going to play.
So we had to do with like Pandemic Legacy because we're like, we have to finish this. So like every week, it was like every other week. It's like, come over, we're playing this game no matter what.
Yeah, with
we're playing
Pandemic
at least
Legacy.
1 month.
That was
not
rough.
2 months worth.
I didn't think it would be as hard to get people together to continuously play that game.
Yeah, I mean, you're
because
playing
every
at least-
month.
for a long.
It
my
plays
son
for
was-
a
does.
year, and
It
so you have
does.
12
So
months.
you can have
but
12
you
to
can
24
fail them
games.
and play them again.
12 to 24 games, which
Yeah.
you're thinking, oh, that's, 12 to 24 games is no problem.
A pandemic?
But we played 14, I think, of them. 14
Yeah, we did
games of
pretty
it, and I
well.
was, at the end, I was like, I'm kind of glad it's done. Like,
You're like,
if it
I
was,
don't want to see this game
yeah,
ever
if it
again.
was
Put
3
it
less
away, throw it
games,
away,
it
whatever.
would have been different because then it would have reached its peak of awesome. But those last 3 games were just too much.
It was a lot.
Too much.
I have Risk Legacy, and I really, really, really want to like do that whole campaign.
Oh yeah,
Like, just
absolutely. Getting the people together continuously because you have to have the same people to come and do it.
And we
and
talked
stuff.
about that with like attack wing.
Yeah.
We've got time stories. You have to like be like,
You
okay,
do.
we're gonna go play these. Like we're gonna play through this game, and then next weekend we're gonna play this game again.
Yeah.
Because there's always the thing too about
Well, and
having
then
to
there's
relearn
always
the rules
new things
every
coming
time.
out, and
And there's,
and that's
there's always new games
the
that
new
you're
shiny
chasing.
thing.
Right,
Squirrel.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're off. You know.
And then you spend half the night trying to learn the game rules.
Yeah.
Like we played last weekend. We played Century Spice Road and 5 Tribes. Neither one of them are particularly long games, but like I still had to sit down and reread the rules for 5 Tribes because it had been long enough since I
That we
played. It'd
didn't
been, like, over
remember
a
exactly,
year.
yeah.
So I still had to like read the rules again. I knew the gist of it. I knew just enough to win, but like
do you
that's
ever?
it.
Oh,
so
Lord.
This is what happened to me last
Yes, we
weekend.
are in the right place for that.
Have you ever played Sheer Panic? Have you ever
Sheer
heard of
Panic?
Sheer Panic?
No.
It's a sheep shearing game.
Oh, that's awesome.
They look like the little Sealy
That's
sheep in the
fantastic.
commercial.
Yes.
It's a great little board game. My buddy Mike introduced this game to me about 3-4 years ago, and we were playing some big, huge strategic board game, just all military, and then we played something else, and then he busts out this game that has these like cartoon sheep on the front cover.
Yeah.
It's called Sheer Panic. I think it's Mayfair Games.
Yeah.
does it. And he pulls out these like clay little sheep, and there's 9 of them, and I'm like, what is this game, dude? Well, last weekend, I liked it so much that I actually went out and bought it. So last weekend I was playing with my brother and his wife and my wife, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember how to play this game. It's real easy. It's just, halfway through the game, I'm like, oh wait a minute.
Oh wait, I don't remember what I'm doing.
And then,
Hold on.
Then it was like, oh crap, we've been playing wrong. Do I tell them? Do I not tell them? So
No,
now
you
I'm
just-
actually admitting it on
Right,
the podcast.
right.
But
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Now
no,
they'll know.
just keep going.
Yeah,
We've done
that's
that
the
before,
best
too,
thing to do.
sometimes.
Just keep going with
You're
what
like,
you
oh,
had.
you're supposed to like return this every time, or
Yeah.
you're supposed to do this
Oh,
one
well.
thing, or you're supposed
As
to
long
get
as
a
you're
coin
having
every time
fun.
you do this.
As
You're
long as
like,
everybody's having
So
fun.
Nobody
Right.
got
Yeah.
it, so it's fine.
But see, my wife is a rules lawyer, dude.
Oh, no.
She's one of those where if the rule says
Well,
this is
actually,
what you gotta do,
actually.
no. So, I heard somebody else might be like that.
Well, we do have one Kickstarter game to talk about. We have Zero Gravity on Kickstarter. Did everybody take a look at that? It's a miniature
Yeah.
game.
no, I didn't. Is it?
Oh my goodness!
It looks.
oh
so
my goodness!
Let me describe.
Okay.
Let me describe it.
Describe it because it sounds
It's
like a game that I was writing. That's
Very
why-
interesting.
So
Everybody
basically,
pulls their
you
phones
have
out, start clicking it
so you have it's a 4-sided board in a cube.
Yeah. So it's been folded into a open box that like you can
Okay.
stick your hand into, basically. So your terrain is in a circular, but on the inside.
And then you have
Yeah.
magnets on the bottom, or actually the magnets are in the board.
Yeah, they're
and you have
built into
steel
it.
on the miniatures
Right.
that will stick to the top of the board.
So it
you
gets-
have to like you. It's called gravity
you're-
ball.
so
It's
you're
like
moving-
inverted 3D chess is what it's like. Inverted
Really?
3D chess, because everything is inside of this circular sort of box. Inside the box.
I think they were demoing it actually at Gen Con.
Oh, really?
I saw this board.
Did you go to Gen
before.
Con?
I know. No, I just saw some pictures. It's fine.
But it's
Power
all
of
based.
YouTube, baby. Power of YouTube. Yeah, I was there.
No, I was there.
But it's all based on having your terrain in this area, and then the measuring sticks, of course, go to. I guess it's like the volume
Yeah.
of the box is
well,
your
the measuring
So
stick is only
terrain.
so long. And
So it would be an innovative 3D arena with 80+ magnetic miniatures.
Yes, that
Capture
one.
the flag style game for 2 to 4
That's
players.
right. That's
thank
right.
you, Kickstarter descriptions.
Thank you.
It's so yeah, it does look interesting, but I think I would hate it.
You would probably hate
I don't
it
really
because
like
the spatial
all
awareness
ridiculous
thing.
spatial game.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a unique, I think, a unique concept that some, something different.
I think I would want to
Yeah.
read the rules.
I'm not a big space guy
more.
either. I don't like the genre of space. I'm like okay with it, but it's not my thing.
Dude,
Well,
Star Wars, space, come on.
Still, I like Old West and Knights.
He doesn't like Star Wars.
That's not true.
Well,
Wow.
you only like the one.
Send him hate mail.
That is not true. No,
At
the problem with
Dr.
Star Wars is
GloryHoundd
I
on
watched
Twitter.
I watched Star Wars when I was like 16 or 17 on Turner Home Movies. Was the first time I got to watch it. So
So
even though
you never watched Star Wars in the movie theater like
No,
I did
he
when
never
it first
did.
came
not
out.
until right, and my dad did, but for some reason,
Okay.
like I didn't go. I don't know. I need to talk to him about this because he saw them, and then when they re-released them, he saw them again, but like didn't take me.
Did you watch
Bad father.
Have you at least watched Empire?
I've watched.
Back. Okay.
Yeah, I've watched all the
I've made
movies.
him watch all of the movies.
Okay, fine. Good,
he has
fine.
I've watched them all with my daughter
all the
too, and
movies.
stuff. So my thing is that at that point in time in my life, the special effects just didn't wow me, and then watching them on a tiny, like 20-inch TV
Oh, yeah.
at my dad's
I could
house
see
was
that,
not
yeah.
super exciting for me. And I went like,
It's about
okay.
the story.
I said, this seems pretty cool, but the special effects didn't grab me. I wasn't like, wow. And then space
How
just
can they not grab you? The opening scene of Star Wars: A New Hope,
Like,
the Death
I'm
Star
looking-
coming over the camera.
So right,
It's
I'm
very
watching like
innovative
I'm watching
filming
like
thing.
Terminator 2
Well,
at that
actually,
point, thinking
Star
like this is
Destroyer.
amazing.
Star Destroyer, that's what it is. Yeah.
But I'm watching like Terminator 2 at this point with like guys melting and stuff. Like so, like the special effects were just two totally different rounds. It's like watching Star Trek on TV, especially like the older one, the first
Okay.
one. You're watching, and you're like, yeah, the story might be okay. There might be a little overacting or something, but the special effects definitely aren't getting you there. It's like going back to watch old Doctor Who. The special effects are not going to get you
I
there.
kind of love all that shit. so-
Well,
It's not like it's bad.
Let's bring it back to
yeah, I was
your-
going to say, with zero gravity, I am interested to see how the rules do the spatial awareness within the box. Because if I can jump on, like, the top portion and throw, like, fireballs down and hit people on the bottom and stuff,
So I think
that's awesome.
I think they solved the well. One of the problems could be that like too far a distance. Like,
right.
to be
Well,
able
they
to,
have
like,
the little measuring stick.
the measuring stick looked
Yeah.
like you could only hit from like one side to the next side adjacent
like-
to
It
it.
looks
so,
like-
you can angle it. So
Yeah.
like, there's two people that were like.
So if somebody's on one wall and then you're on the bottom and you use the measuring stick, you have an area
side
at
to
which you
bottom
can
you can
hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like you
But-
can
Yeah,
go
so
like
you're-
from
Maybe
top to
not
bottom.
from top to bottom, but I don't know what everybody's spell abilities are and
That's
stuff
true.
like that. You know,
Is it a sci-fi game or is it a?
It's
fantasy
totally a
game?
sci-fi game.
it's
like-
it kind of looks like though like a Wiz Wars sort of thing because you have like
Yeah, like,
spellcasters
what
and
was-
stuff,
Well,
right?
it was- No,
like
it
what's
was-
up with like the sniper and
And
like
then you
the
have-
trooper with a chainsaw?
Yeah, you have like tokens and stuff.
It was
on
totally
it.
a
and
it was
like
totally
a Nazi
murder
commander.
ball.
Gotcha.
Not murder
maybe
ball.
that
but-
maybe that's like a better
but sci-fi. But
Yeah.
one of the miniatures reminded me of DuckTales, the old Gizmo duck. He had two wheels for instead of feet. He had like one stem with two wheels on the bottom.
Yeah, you've
of
got
it.
it just
And it
seems
was
more like it's a suit. It's like reminds
Here,
me like
let me see here.
like the holodeck on Star Trek.
yeah.
Like the holodeck where you can fight whatever
Fight
you want.
whatever.
Like you could fight knights or you could fight like Vikings or space people or whatever. It seems like it's a mixture of all of that.
It's
Like
kind of
in
like a multi.
One of the teams was sort of
well, because they have Vikings
problematic.
on there and stuff.
Yeah, like they have Vikings. They have a couple characters that look kind of
Like they had a guy that was wearing like
steampunkish,
the Jason mask
they have-
with a chainsaw.
So they had
Yeah.
the Irish team that were supposed to be Vikings and part fish, and it was like, and they were super, and they said we're super proud of our Viking heritage. I'm like, they're Irish. Why wouldn't they be proud
Well,
of their
Vikings is-
Gaelic
Yeah.
heritage?
Right, Viking is a job title, not a people. But I mean, it is. I'm not
it
trying
is.
to be a jerk, but it is.
but
It's
it's-
a raider essentially.
But generally,
so
that's
anybody could
denoted
be a
as
Viking technically, but it's right. It's
Yeah.
the general term for
I'm gonna say
a group
like
of people a group of time.
yeah, because
But
they
we get
have
Vikings
like
all wrong though too. They were really well dressed. They were very clean people.
Very
They used
So kind of like a
swords way more
time
than
bandit
axes.
kind of
mechanical
thing.
samurai
Like
that
looking
movie
people
Time
on
Bandit.
here.
That's why I
Kinda
said like
mix
it's the
and mash
hologram.
and
It's
yeah,
like a
that's
anything
exactly it.
that-
Like it's
Yeah.
very mix and match.
It's almost like a blood sport across the ages, right? Like
Right.
any great warrior. So you'd probably have like samurais, then you might have like a psychotic murderer, like Axe Face
Right.
Man or something, and then like Vikings versus like Star.
Well, I think that the
Troopers.
whole concept of that is probably hey, because it's a cool 3D board with
Right.
the
Yeah.
magnetic everything on there. That's the catch. For
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Because it sounds
Well,
it almost sounds like that it was like, hey, we got this great miniature line.
now we got to figure something
out.
out.
What do we do with it?
Right.
Somebody was probably
and
that's how a lot of that stuff happens.
Everything in this is magnetic. So, like, the little tokens that you put on the ground for area effects and stuff are all magnetic. Like,
so how big is the
everything.
board then? Is it?
It's like I think it's like a foot and a half
there measurements
each
on
side.
there?
So
Really?
it's like a foot and a half tall by a foot and a half.
Watching the Kickstarter, it looked pretty big. Like a
'cause
regular.
you could, it looked like you sit on a table, you could like look right through
Right.
Oh yeah, you totally win by
Absolutely.
getting cheers. Like the person with the most cheers wins.
by killing people.
So
or,
yeah, it's definitely like
so-
it's like almost like kind of like Thor. Was it Thor Ragnarok? Kind of looks like
coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like Hulk versus Thor, and like just different. It's like it's like watching
arena.
TV.
It's arena.
It is an
combat.
arena-based game, yeah.
Yeah.
So they just kind of pretty much put any kind of figure out there, whatever you
I think
feel
so.
you
I
like.
think so. It was interesting.
So that
though.
actually might interest me more if it's not
So,
just
so where are
solely
they at on
space.
their backing?
I think
wow.
they're funded,
How'd it go?
are
Have
they?
funded?
Yeah, why do you ask me questions that I can look up easily by scrolling up?
Yeah, the guy that doesn't do Kickstarter is asking you the technical questions about Kickstarter.
Yeah, what's your deal, man? It's a 40 millimeter area, is what it said.
No, we're talking about
no,
funding.
funding. Have they
Here,
funded
let me
yet?
Give it to me.
No,
Give
wait,
it to
hold
me.
on. I have to go back.
No, give it to me. I know what I'm
got
doing.
it.
No, give it here.
I know what I'm doing.
They're literally
Get a
fighting.
picture of the
They're
thing.
literally fighting
Yeah,
over.
it's good. It's got 59,000 out of 29,000.
I was going to say, it's funded.
yeah.
So they are funded.
Yeah, there's no
It's
way
going
that's
to
not
print.
funded.
And then their rewards are like, every so much you get like 2 other figures or something that they add to it, I think.
For each team.
Yeah, for each team.
And the price is actually not terrible.
It was 105, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Was
like
that
the miniature.
Is that the buy-in price, or was that
That's-
gonna be
That's
like
the buy-in.
retail?
That's
So-
the buy-in price. Yeah, retail's usually going to be like 10 to 20 bucks more, usually.
Right.
And then shipping's still
Shipping's
going to
be extra.
See,
Yeah.
that's where, from a miniature side of things, okay, do I look at a game like that and go, okay, that's a cool concept, $125, let's say, buy-in.
Right.
How many people am I going to get to play it?
Always. That's how I feel about
You know?
RPGs right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this seems like a really cool RPG. Am I going to actually get to play this or not?
It's by District Games.
And 2 to 4 players, huh? It's
could
a
be
cool
interesting.
concept.
I guess it's really going to matter on what the runtime is, because if it's less than an hour to play, you could probably get lots of people to play it. But if you start getting
Right.
to it, it's a 4-hour miniature game.
Well, I'm always interested in that spatial awareness in games, like
Well, yeah, trying to
because it
break
adds
out
a
of
whole
the-
different
yeah.
like depth to a game with that.
There was a game when I was a kid. It was an old Milton Bradley game called Subsearch. And I've seen it on some board game collecting things where it was kind of a battleship-esque type game that had 3 levels on the board, and you were trying to hunt these submarines and things that were down on. And as a kid, because this was in the 70s, I remember this
That's
was so
probably
cool.
fantastic. You're like,
You
oh
know,
my god,
I'm
it's
like, wow, there's-
multi-levels.
Yeah, and I've
Oh.
never seen other board
It's like
games
Battleship,
really go
but
that
more-
way. Yeah.
More badass.
And so, trying to break out from the tabletop and do something different
Yes.
is tough.
It is tough because people aren't used to that, but I really enjoy that sort
Dude,
of
it's
stuff.
a samurai robot.
Yeah, right?
Well, of course,
Sensei.
samurai robots. Like,
yeah, they're talking
I
about...
think how they made the factions is took Smash Up and just like
Probably.
select 2
I
different
swear
cards
that's
from Smash.
probably
Dude,
what it
that
was
probably
because
Irish sharks, like the
they're
leprechaun
very
sharks. or
odd.
something.
They're very odd.
Yeah, they're capture
having a
flag
whole-
matches held
just that
inside
right
hyper
there.
local gravity.
Yeah.
Bunch of senseis running around samurai robots with big
Yeah.
wheels on it. I mean,
Yeah, no, it looks like fun. If somebody said, "Hey,"
If somebody was, yeah, exactly.
wanted me to play it, like I'm in.
Oh, yeah, sure,
But
yeah.
like I'm not.
But I don't know if I'll get it though because I don't know if like other people are going to want to play it.
well, and this
think-
is where it comes down to too: is how did the game play?
Right.
Is it because the
Is it
concept
more of a
the
fun
concept
miniature
is,
game?
Yeah, is it more of a light-hearted kind of thing? That's the way I look at Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl, I don't
Yeah.
really take super serious. 'cause
No,
it's
not at all.
Fantasy
It's
orc football. And stuff.
it's a fun game.
This, would this be something that you would play every weekend? Or would
Right.
you only play it every once in a blue
Right.
moon? So then that's how I justify a game is, am I going to be playing this like I'm devoting all my time to it?
Mm-hmm. Well, and this
And then 40 mil? being
this
bigger
reminds
miniatures.
me of. Honestly, it reminds me of like a Wiz Wars style of game because Wiz Wars has the 4 boards, and although it's on like one platform, the effect of it is going into 3 different areas and stuff, and then doing a battle.
Right.
Like just a all hands down like battle for stuff, you know?
I mean, the concept is intriguing. I just don't know if I would actually jump into it.
Dang, I was really hoping you'd get in. We could just
so that we can come over and play.
Well, here, just from as soon as you said 40 mil miniatures, those are bigger than the standard 28, 30 mil miniatures.
So then it's going to be odd.
Crossover for something else.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm going to have these miniatures.
That does make a difference.
It does, because that was one of the reasons
That's
why
a really
I
good
jumped
point.
into it, because can I use the miniatures for something else?
Right.
You know,
that's an extremely good point.
They're being very, I think they're being very purposeful that they only want their stuff used for their game.
Probably.
So they don't want to see any kind of crossover.
Okay.
I said that sensei, that samurai robot dude, I would love to have a whole army of that playing for 40K, but that's
cool.
going to be bigger than what the standard 40K army is.
Yeah,
so
it won't work.
You know,
well, actually, that might be about right against Space Marines, because Space Marines.
Oh yeah, they've gotten bigger now.
They've gotten huge. Yeah, they're not quite the 6 feet tall as I
think if you like miniature games and you're willing to, take a chance on it, it would definitely be a good.
Send us a
game.
copy so we can play it.
There you go.
It'd definitely be a good game.
Send
to
us
try
a
out.
copy. We'll
there
play
you go.
it. There's 4 of us here. We'll play it. We'll tell you which we do.
Well, I mean, at the end of the Kickstarter thing, I want to know, Richard, would you get this game?
I can't right now, no.
Okay, well, if you had the money available, would you get this game?
Probably, actually.
Probably?
Yeah, because I think it looks cool enough that you could... You set that up at a game day, you put that on the table, you're going to get players.
See, I wonder if it's going to be a game that's going to bring a bunch of lookers, but not players. So, I brought out Flick 'em Up to work, and I had everybody stop out and go, what is this? Oh, this is cool. Look at these little cowboys. Oh, look at these little meeples. Oh, look at these little cactus and stuff. But then I only actually got 3 other people to play it.
Yeah, but you were talking to normal, so that's different.
Yeah, right. I'm talking about game day.
All right, so would you go ahead and purchase this game?
Tim, would I go ahead?
Yes,
and do it? 'Cause
Tim,
you're
would you go ahead?
on a podcast.
Tim,
like you said.
sorry.
This is
Tim.
our first one.
She's like, oh, who's that guy over there?
Would you go ahead and purchase this game?
Initially, after looking at it, I would probably say no.
Okay.
Because once again, it comes down to, could I use the miniatures for something else? And could I get my game group to play it?
Okay.
Would I try the game? Yeah. I would definitely play it in
and then if it was great, would you buy it? Yeah.
And if... I think it would be perfect for a convention, to get people to show up, because it is a very unique-looking game.
Okay.
So... Initially, I would say no for my gaming group, but if I was doing a lot of conventions, I would buy it just for that factor that it's something different.
Okay.
I would have to play it before I bought it.
You'd have to play it
Yeah,
before
I'd have
you
to
bought
see if
it.
I actually enjoyed it first.
Okay.
But I'm totally willing for somebody else to buy it, and I would...
And then you would play
I
it.
could see stopping to try to play it if it was at a convention.
Yeah.
This is a game that I would probably want to purchase. However, with the people that I play games with, I don't think that they would want to play it. So I would not purchase it just because the people that I usually play with probably wouldn't want to play it.
I'd say out of the normal group that plays all the time, there's only one person that would probably be like, yeah, pass. But...
What do you mean?
You?
No. Now that I saw that it wasn't space, I'm more interested in it.
You got to talk into the mic whenever you're...
I don't want to talk into the mic.
Oh, okay.
You talk into the mic.
All right.
I think if you look at the Kickstarter and it looks like a good game, definitely get it, because it has awesome looking miniatures. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a unique
I'd play that.
game.
I'd play
I
that.
definitely can see
Definitely
a shop
eye
having
candy.
it come in,
Yeah.
to demo it and that sort of thing. I
Right,
think.
walking into Imperial Outpost, if they had that in the middle, when you first walk in, that would definitely be a game that people would ask questions about.
So Game Depot, do you think Game Depot would stock a whole bunch of them? I don't think so.
No, they're very particular on what they go all in on. They know what their market is. They definitely have that 40K market. They have that wargaming market, but they also have a really big, more casual
gamer. And see, that's where would that game be considered something that casual gamers would want to pick up and play?
Yeah, with $125, no.
Yeah, that's...
in that range, I'd say no. Most people are going to pass, because even I pass at games over $50 unless I've looked at them and I know them or I've played them. But it could, if it's a good casual enough game, you could get other people to play it.
Because I think it'd be a lot of fun to use these miniatures for role-playing games like Feng Shui, which is basically you can just throw anything at the wall at Feng Shui, and it's basically samurai to Vikings or whatever. You're just fighting through time and space and having egregiously giant fights, and I think that'd be fun to have that sort of miniatures on there. So that would be my secondary use for it. So you're right. Almost every miniatures game has almost got to have 2 uses at this point for me to really get into it. So
I'd play that.
Yeah.
All right, so honorable mentions for this week. Make sure to check us out on Favorite Game Friday at Epic Gaming Night on Instagram, where we talk about our favorite game of the week with a theme. And RinCon tickets, I believe, are on sale right now.
They are.
Yeah, so go to RinCon. Well, I think you can go to Google and do RinCon Games, and it'll come up for you. And that's going to be in Tucson. It's a heavy board game convention, so I believe there should be some miniature games and role-playing games there, but they are heavy board games.
They have a good selection of role-playing games there.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, and it's all scheduled.
Yes, all scheduled gaming. Make sure to check us out on Mystery Dungeon 1000. We're going to have some new episodes of that coming out. And make sure to rate us on Stitcher and iTunes. Everybody go ahead and go around the table. Today we had
Richard?
Tim?
Dr. GloryHoundd.
And Tim, where can we reach you at?
You asked me this again.
I know, you need to be prepared. Where can we reach you at for your painting?
Saguaro painting at blah, 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 something.
We'll put a link.
Yeah,
we'll put a link up
there.
there. We'll put a link up on here for you, okay? This has been a GloryHoundd production in association with Abnormal Entertainment. For more shows, game news, and amazing adventures, follow us at GloryHoundd.com, at GloryHoundd on Twitter, or In Glory We Trust on Facebook.
Head to abnormalentertainment.com for all of our podcasts and blogs. Go to cinemaheadcheese.com for our movie reviews and news. Don't forget our YouTube channels, Abnormal Podcast and Cinema Head Cheese. Get us on Twitter, at Abnormal Podcast, and find all of our shows and Abnormal Entertainment on Facebook.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.